Another Monday, another monster. Boom. Mosquito, okay? Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface himself, with a chainsaw, fighting giant mosquitoes. Do you seriously need to know anything else? Just pause this and buy it. And then come back and watch this, please, because I don't want to just sit here and talk to nobody. I always feel like Monster Mondays is like the bastard child. Everyone seems to look forward to Slasher Sundays, but no one seems to care about this. I'm sure that some of you will be like, no way, and I hope you do, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to stop doing it. I love it, but I just haven't heard anyone really like excited about this yet. But anyway, Mosquito. This cover is awesome. It's got a reverse cover inside. You can see here. I was so happy when they released this to Blu-ray. So cool, man. God, we live in such a cool time where we get movies like this. Awesome. Like, released on Blu-ray, I mean. So, all right, let's get into the movie. Now, anytime I watch a giant monster movie, I'm always reminded by the fact that we are so lucky bugs are very tiny. You know, yes, in other places they're bigger and whatnot, but for the most part, and no matter what, they're never bigger than like a human being or something. Could you imagine living on a planet with spiders or scorpions? You know, a scorpion the size of a bus, a spider the size of your car, or mosquitoes the size of a golden retriever, like in this movie. As cheesy as this film is, and it is, when I take myself and I put myself into this scenario in reality, I am mortified. Like, of all the horror movie, you know, genres and whatnot, giant insects has got to be maybe the top one for me. It's like, if I was to be placed into that world, ugh, no way. Living in a world with spiders in this size, no. Anyway, so I just wanted to address that. And as I said, because it's a cheesy movie, you can't really be scared, but try to think of it realistically, and it's terrifying. Now the opening comes, and we have a meteor that they think it's a meteor. It's like a little spaceship crashes on Earth, and all these mosquitoes come and feed off of, I think, what's an alien's dead body. It kind of maybe looks like a ship too. I can't really tell. But whatever it is, it feeds off of whatever the alien stuff is, radiation. I guess they're feeding off the radiation. I don't know why the mosquitoes would be going after that. They landed in one of their nests. Doesn't matter. It gets them big, okay? Real big. Then we get our two main characters, a man and a woman, who are driving, and they hit a bug, and they're like, what did we hit? Was it a bird? Must have been a bug. And it was like, must have been a bug? The thing is this fucking big. And the girl goes over, and she's supposed to be a bug expert, and she picks up, you know, the proboscis, and she's holding, and she's like, this looks like a proboscis, and she's like, we got to take this thing back. But she doesn't even seem that overwhelmed by the fact that she's staring at a bug the size of a golden retriever. It is pretty hilarious. But this whole film, just does away with logic of any sort, which is fine. But that being said, and I'm going to get to this later, they do address a lot more things in this film than the average monster film would. Like, I was sitting there kind of being like, hey, they actually addressed that, and hey, that actually was, brought up. And so, despite it being, without logic in a lot of places, they actually do take the time and consider certain other things. There's stupid ass moments, and there's moments of kind of like, wow, you never see that in movies. Thank you. That's cool. And we get the first one of the first attacks is one of the most, I think, one of the more iconic scenes from this movie, where the guy and the girl are just like going at it in the tent, and then he gets his pants on to go take a piss, and he's drunk and stumbling around out there, and his girlfriend gets attacked, and we get this like really great shot of like her tits from the top view, like coming down, and then like the mosquito coming in. And let me tell you, the mosquitoes in this movie are just awesome. Practical, great looking, wires, the whole thing. Like, and then we got like composite shots of them flying, and then we have like animated shots of them flying as well. Like, they just went all out, stop motion animation, the whole thing. And I love it. It's great. The kills are just excellent. You know, when they put the proboscis in them and they start sucking their fucking blood out, and their bodies actually like suck in, and all like they just like, and then the eyes bulge out and the eyes explode. Oh, I love that stuff so much. You just don't see that as much anymore. And when the girl's getting attacked in the tent, the guy is like, what the hell's that? And his girlfriend's screaming, and like he's running back to the thing and just stops to take a nice drink for a second, and then like continues. I think he actually like runs and drinks, but he like actually takes the time to take a drink before. I don't know if that was like him trying to build courage, or thinks that she's not actually in danger. It was just funny. It was just like, really? You're taking a drink? And then Gunnar Hansen and his two clowns are out there, and they're, you know, one of the first people to encounter the mosquitoes as well. And one of the guys runs from the mosquito, and they're the two friends he has, Gunnar Hansen and the other guy. They're chasing after him, and they're trying to shoot at the thing. And he's like, guys, don't shoot at me. And then they shoot at him again and blow their friend away. It's great. You just don't see that much in movies either, where the friend actually gets shot to death by his friends trying to help him. And then we get this great scene of the people who are attacked on the boat, and they jump into the, you know, one of the guys jumps into the water, and the mosquito is like on the water, and it just keeps shoving its fucking proboscis down into the water, and it like looks like it's just like a knife coming through the water, like bullets in movies when they come through the water. It's just a really neat, cool shot. I really like it a lot. And the girl in the tent, back to her, I love how she thinks that she has like a Buddy moment from Halloween 2, where the nurse thinks that Buddy's come and put his hand on her. It's the same thing here. Like, a mosquito is coming up her leg, into her inner thigh, onto her stomach, into her tits, and she's like, oh hey baby, like come to be like a mosquito, or get your mosquito, or something like that, because he was talking like she thought she was being bit by him and it was actually a mosquito. So it's like this silly reference in the movie, and it adds to the cheesiness of the film, how on the nose the dialogue can be at times. And they just lay waste to this entire campground. Like, they come upon this campground, and there's like 80 people just decimated, absolutely taken out by these mosquitoes. There's a high body count in this movie. They must kill 100 fucking people in this movie. One of the things that I was mentioning before about them actually making decisions that were like, oh yeah, thank you, is they decide once they're going to run for it that they all want to go grab this guy's Jeep. And when they get there, they see that it has a canvas top to it. And they're like, we can't take that thing. Like, the mosquitoes get right through that thing. And then they are like, well, what the hell are we going to take? And they try to like figure it out, and they see that there's this big RV camper, and they decide to take that instead. Which is just, those are little touches, just like little attentions to detail. And not only are they like addressing it like in the script, but they're also addressing it on screen, so that we know that the characters are actually thinking. We don't get that a lot. You know, a lot of times they just either make dumb decisions or they make smart decisions, and they never even like address it at all, which they don't need to every single time. It's not like, hey guys, look what we're doing, aren't we smart? It's just sometimes it's like, oh, thank you for pointing that out, because it's like you see it in so many other films that you're just like, oh, I wish that someone would not do that for once. And then you get things like this, and you're like, yes, thank you for saying that, and then doing this. That's awesome. So yeah, you can see how many fucking stupid movies that I watch, that I get excited when people decide to take an RV over a Jeep. Like, here I am talking about it for like 2 straight minutes. And just once they get in the camper, that whole camper chase scene between the bugs attacking and Gunnar Hansen grabbing the girl and putting the hatchet to her throat, why the guy didn't just like hit the brakes, or why didn't, there's so many different scenarios. I'm not going to get into all of the stupid things with this movie. Some I will have to, but there's so many ways that could have went down. But everything that takes place in that Jeep, just all of it is great. I just think that's such a great sequence. And pretty much once they get to the house, the whole movie is awesome. But there's definitely highlight scenes, and the RV chase and the house at the end. Great climax. Really, really good climax. Payoff is excellent. And then they get trapped in the sewer area where they're like firing down each one of the tubes. And I like that they also address the fact that these guys, instead of just having them blast for a day and a half, and it's like, where the hell are they getting all this ammo? They actually have the girl sitting in the middle, and she's handing out ammo. Like each one of them's like, I'm out of shells, and she like pops shells in. It kind of reminds me of like Terminator 2, when the T-800, he like keeps handing the shotgun back to John Connor, and he keeps reloading his shotgun and giving him new weapons, and he does it for Sarah Connor as well. Like, I love that stuff. Instead of just having them firing for a day, they actually have someone reloading, and they have a girl who's there handing her bullets. So I always love stuff like that. It adds to it. And they also address the fact that mosquitoes normally in nature, they only feed to then take blood back to the eggs, and it's just like a one thing, but these actually are out to kill. Like, that's their purpose. And she was actually addressing that. And they also addressed that, even though they haven't seen anything else yet, because the idea they came up with for why this could be happening, discussing it, they were like, well, maybe it went into the swamp and whatnot, and well, why haven't we seen anything else? And it's like, well, we don't know yet. Like, we just may not have seen the giant frogs or the giant fish or anything. Like, these things are airborne. These things can fly. These things will be quicker into town. So this may have spread to other things. We just haven't seen them yet. So I like that they address those things as well. And then, of course, the super meta moment in this movie is just great, because Gunnar never came back as Leatherface, so we only got to see him wield that chainsaw, like that in that movie. I know he's in like Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers or whatever, Hollywood Hookers, whatever. I never seen that movie. I need to rectify that, I know, but I never seen that, and I know he's in that, so I don't know if he actually handles one. Someone tell me if he has. But yeah, in this movie, he picks up a chainsaw. This movie was made in 1994, 20 years after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was 1974. And when he picks up the chainsaw, he says, I haven't handled one of these babies in 20 years. It's fucking awesome. I mean, that scene is just like, they're just handing that to horror fans like us. Like, oh, as I said, it's a meta moment, and a lot of people don't like over fan service. I know that like a lot of problems that people have with certain Star Wars movies, like especially Disney stuff, is they feel like, and other movies as well, but I obviously am a big Star Wars fan. I hear people bitch all the time that there's too much fan service. And it's just like, and I can get that to an extent, but this is awesome fan service right here. And we just get some great chainsaw action with him. He goes to town on these mosquitoes, which, is great to see. And when they finally decide their plan, which their plan is half cool and half fucking stupid as hell. The first part of their plan is awesome, because they come up with how to get out of it, and instead of being like, well, we're gonna have to leave one behind to die, because they do come up with that idea, and they're like, wait, well, one of us is gonna have to stay behind. Who's it gonna be? And instead of like them drawing straws, or like one guy having the heroic moment or whatever, which they do in every film, like the one guy thinks his way out of it, and he's like, no, I'll build a contraption, like give me a minute. And he does. People still end up dying anyway, but they actually went to the notion of like, no, I'm not going to just give up. I'm not going to just let people die. I was critiquing The Langoliers recently for that. As much as I love that movie, I feel like, Nick could have lived, but that's not this movie. I just like when they actually address that kind of stuff. The dumb part of their plan is to break all the windows out and then run into a room, lock themselves inside, and depend on a dumb waiter to bring them all up one at a time in that time frame that they have. And it's like, half of you or all of you couldn't have just used the stairs to get upstairs? Like, huh? Hey, that is just so dumb. It is such a dumb scene, and you're like, okay. And then, of course, the rope breaks, and one of them falls down in the basement, and Gunnar Hansen's like, I'm going to go after your friend. He finally has this heroic moment after being a dick the whole movie. And he cuts open the door, and when he does, it just cuts to him in the basement. And then the other guy is still in the room, and that he cut the door open at, because there's like mosquitoes like banging at the door, and he's holding it back, and he's like, come on, hurry up, they're coming through. And there's all these holes in the door. And when he cuts through with the chainsaw, it just cuts to him in the basement like he didn't encounter any mosquitoes in the living room and the whole front room area. And when the door's wide open, the guy that's still in the room doesn't deal with almost any mosquitoes for like a minute or so. And it's like, where were they? Did they like leave and then come back? And then when he does go down into the basement, he never even finds the guy. He just starts chainsawing him. He does get the line like, yeah, ain't life a bitch? Like when he's like, you're gonna die. Which is, it's a fun little last moment thing. But he goes down to the basement. He never even finds the guy. We never see the guy again. Like that guy falls down the dumbwaiter, and that's it. Like he's gone. We just don't see him. I guess he dies. I mean, the house blows up obviously, and he's dead. So he goes down there to save him, and he doesn't even see him. And it's like, why didn't instead, if he got out the front and he didn't see anyone, maybe he didn't encounter any mosquitoes, like I get he was trying to be the hero, but he really wasn't the hero in this movie. He was a every man for himself kind of guy 2 seconds ago. Once he got out there, couldn't he have just ran right out the front door, jumped out of one of the windows and got out of the house? Like, why even run down there? And when he did run down there, he didn't even do anything anyways. So he's just kind of like all of his decision making in that last minute was like, huh? And the black guy lives. How often do you see that? Everyone always bitches in horror movies like the black guy's first it dies. They always die, this and that. Not in this movie. This guy's awesome, man. Not only does he rig a contraption, he comes up with a stupid plan to get out, but he rigs a contraption, and then he throws himself Indiana Jones in the kingdom of the Crystal Skull, nuke the fridge moment. He throws himself on the bridge, except for this actually probably would work. The Indiana Jones scene is fucking stupid and would not work at all. They don't seem to account for the fact that Indy would be being thrown around in that thing. That door would open and we would have seen Indy fucking juice all over the place, and Indy shake. So yeah, with Black Guy Lives, he's smart enough to do all this stuff. So kudos to him for being awesome. Oh man, this was fun. Great movie to revisit. Please let me know if you've seen this and you love it, or if you watched it because of me and you loved it. If you didn't like it, then yeah, don't say anything. No, I'm just kidding. Say whatever you want. All right, guys, until next Sunday and Monday, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to review next, but I'm pretty sure I already know. Dun, dun, dun!